Good evening. This is James, Alpha Echo 6, Juliet Golf, your net control operator for the River City ARC Slow Scan TV Net. This net serves for training and practice in image transmission modes and meets Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. on the N6NA repeater on 441.30 megahertz. River City ARC's members and all licensed radio amateurs are welcome to participate. If you wish to join the net or need to make a call at any time, please announce your call sign between transmissions, and net control will acknowledge you. If an emergency should arise and you need the repeater, please contact net control by saying, "Break, break." A double break signifies emergency traffic. The net will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or the traffic is moved to another frequency. Stations who wish to check in are asked to respond with their full call sign using the recognized ITU phonetic alphabet and their name. I'll recognize each station before continuing. Any station who wishes to check into the net, please come now.
November 6 Whiskey Lima, Mike, Bill, and Roseville.
N6 Delta Golf, Joel and Florin.
November 6 Papa Golf, Quebec, Bob in North Roseville.
N6YG, George in Lincoln.
Kilo Papa 4 Mike Delta, Carol Citrus Heights.
We had a double when Bob checked in. So far I have Bill, N6WLM, and Joel, AI6DG, Bob, N6PGQ, and I think someone else, but I'll come. That's someone else as soon as I'm done with the list here. Please come. And George, N6YG, and Carol, KP4MD. I am AE6JG. Who else is out there? All right, so we have Bill, Joel, Bob, George, Carol, and James, and we'll go in that order. And let me just double check. Anybody else like to join us tonight? All right, Bill, you're first, N6WLM.
November 6 Whiskey Lima, Mike. Can I get a quick signal report?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Could you skip me briefly?
Yeah, we'll come back to you, Bill. Joel, AI6DG, are you ready?
Hang on just one moment. Tell me if I have tone.
You had noise but no tone.
What kind of noise?
Static. It wasn't a tone at all. It almost like a quick key on the mic.
Same, no noise? If not, then just, next person.
Okay. Well, so far, 2 down. Okay, Bob. We're counting on you, N6PGQ.
Okay, we'll give this a try. This is PD 120.
pretty clear copy, very few pixel pops. And I'm going to ask Bill to comment on it, N6WOM.
Yeah, it's a good copy here. Just very few pixel pops. I think I am looking at a table, nice looking table, and it has a lot of different bags on it. I think I see there's a box in the back of the table, a couple of Target bags, looks like a pink something with teeth maybe, and I think there's a board game in front and a green ball, a plushie that's a cat, and some other bags. And then to the right is a Christmas tree with red bulbs on it and a gold-framed photo on the wall. Yeah, it looks like somebody went shopping early for some kids. So it looks like children's gifts, and that's all I can say. But a good copy here. N6WOM, back to that.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Joel, AI6DG.
I think this is one of the best in terms of no pops I've ever received, because I really only think there's 3 or 4, maybe 5 defects in the entire image. It's pretty dark, dark paneling in the background. The underneath the table is in shadow, and it's a very dark brown tabletop. So it looks like there's maybe a suitcase rack like you see in hotel rooms on the extreme right. I can't tell what kind of table it is. Oh, maybe those are legs. Maybe those slightly less dark things at the very bottom of the photograph are some of the table legs. So it's very dark. Croaker. One of the white bags in the front on the right, maybe. I guess that is Target in the background. Cardboard box in the back left. Can't really read what it is or where they're all from, or if there's kids gifts or not. But I guess I can kind of see that. But definitely Christmas time, and someone just got back from doing Christmas shopping. And I see some at the very, very top. It looks like I see part of a different photo. It doesn't match what's underneath it. So the first dozen lines or so of the image, and I got a green line at the very bottom. Back to that AI6DG.
Thanks, Joel. This is AE6JG Net Control for Slow Scan TV, River City Arcs, Wednesday night. Net. Anybody else like to join us before we move on? All right, N6PGQ, tell us about the picture.
Well, this is not as pretty a picture as Carol sent out, but this is the prize table that was going to weave at the River City Arcs Christmas party. And you can see that we gave quite a bit of things. According to Carol, there were 36 toys donated and about $300 that was returned that's going to be used to purchase more toys for the children that are involved with Weave. And so I just wanted to throw out that I really enjoyed the Christmas party. Glad all of us could get together. And back to Net, N6PGQ.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, that was really, really nice yesterday night. Okay, George, N6YG, are you ready to share an image?
Boy, I am not sure. Windows is just being fun tonight. This is exactly why I don't want to make me nervous about the ISS contact. I went to go load an image, had MMS TV up, grabbed an image, went to go drop it in there, and out of File Explorer, and I just got this squirrely little round thing telling me, to wait. And then, you know how the file manager goes gray and starts to dim out, and I ended up having to hard boot the computer to get out of that. Love Windows. So let me see. I'm going to send out a quick tone. Let me know if I at least have a tone.
Yeah, nice clean tone.
All right, here we go. N6YG. I'm using that switcher program. That seems to work real well for starting MMS TV. All my settings are, I use different radios for MMS TV, and it's really been working well. All right, here goes.
Thanks, George. N6YG AE6JG. Looks like a busy antenna intersection. Good copy here with some identifier noise across the very middle. Let me ask Carol to, before I go on, let me say good evening to Craig, Whiskey Papa 2 November, who's watching on YouTube Live. He wishes us all a happy holiday, and Craig, we wish you happy holidays. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, Carol, KP4MD, comments on George's image.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is KP4MD. Yes, hi there, Craig, joining us there from Louisiana. And yeah, this picture is nice and bright and pretty clear. I think maybe only half a dozen pixel pops. Very, very solid picture. N6YG SSTV. I see what looks like a real problem, though. You've got an antenna mast with a big antenna up there. Looks like a log periodic, maybe. And it's right up against it looks like it's right up against a light pole with power lines running right underneath this big antenna. Maybe it's just a perspective, but that is probably not a good idea, because if that were to fall, it could have some major problems. But okay, and looks like a kind of a dry hillside. That looks like a picture probably taken in the summer when there was no rain, and a few trees there in the distance. So back to Nets, KP4MD.
Thanks, Carol. Bill, N6WLM, comments?
Yeah, I agree with Carol. A little close to the power lines. It does look like a light pole there of some sorts with power running to it. Yeah, some kind of log periodic. It looks almost like a TV antenna. But knowing George, this is probably some kind of horizontal Yagi for doing single sideband on VHF. So I'm wondering where this is at. Did you get an antenna in the air, George? So it'd be interesting to hear about N6NA Net.
Thanks, Phil. George, tell us about this N6YG. I thought those were all antenna wires, but now that I look at it, I see the street light. So tell us, do we have a potential hazard here?
You know, it's when I see things like this that have have thoroughly convinced me that I have vastly underestimated the intelligence level of the human gene pool. No, this is not too far from me. The guy was selling this antenna. It's a TV antenna, and those are power lines. It goes from, there's one house on the property, and so the power line comes from the power company. It drops to there, then it goes to here, and then to another mobile home. And so yeah, those are utility lines. It's coming right off the right off the transformer. And yeah, so he was selling this antenna en masse. It's a TV antenna, and he was trying to get rid of it. And I looked at this and I said, you know, they're lucky they survived putting this up. That's just one of those things that makes you really, really wonder. This is a spark show waiting to happen in a bad windstorm. So yep, with that, back to Net N6YG.
Thanks, George. I think we are all relieved it's not you. So I'm glad to know it's a neighbor. All right, I'm going to send a picture, and then we're going to come back to Bill and Joel, and hopefully their systems are up and running. This will be PD120. All right, speaking of power lines, George, go ahead and comment N6YG.
Well, this looks like one of the runs that they have out here in Sacramento. There's chairs and a yellow vest and people standing around. I can't quite tell what that is in the background. I think that looks like a flag right there. Is it? Can't quite tell. The picture came over relatively well. I see a little ghosting in there, but that could be on my end. That could be multipath. I get multipath out here, I think, from the big barn. Maybe if I move the antenna up, it'll be better. So was this the recent, what was the recent run that they just had out here where they had, that wasn't Turkey Run. So got a little table set up, a little folding table set up. I imagine that's a ham radio operator, or maybe they're handing out water, so. And trying to recognize where this might be, but I don't know. All right, back to net, N6YG.
Thanks, George. Bob, N6PGQ.
Yeah, when the picture started to load, I think that someone was going to compete with George in terms of having antennas up inside power lines. But this looks like a shot perhaps for the California International Marathon, probably near the finish line somewhere, because the early part of the race goes down the American River. So quality's pretty good. There's a few pixel pops in it, but it's a nice picture. I'm going to find out where it is in a minute. N6PGQ.
Well, thanks, Bob. Yeah, this is at 40th and J Street, right in front of Mercy General Hospital. This is mile 23.5, and Sacramento County Aries provided assistance to the organizers, and so the yellow vest is our brand new ham KO6CCU, and we were doubled up. I was mentoring him. There's an ICOM 5100 and a BioNO battery that we use for communication, as well as our handhelds. We had handhelds, and that was our base, which helped if we had to go to tactical frequencies that didn't use the repeater. Over to the right, you see the gentleman in red. He's a retired life flight helicopter nurse. And in the white, she was the team captain for the medical team, so there were 4 people on the medical team. And we did have some incidents. A couple people, loss of consciousness. It got busy, actually. But it was beautiful weather on Sunday. So it was CIM. And then you see the ROTC crew handing out water and Gatorade and stuff kind of in the middle. Any questions before we move to Bill? All right, N6WLM, AE6JG, are you ready?
Yeah, roger that. Let me get a quick tone.
That must be a very high-pitched tone because I can't hear it, Bill.
Okay, I'm able to receive. I assumed I would be able to send also. I might have to look into this a little further. Go ahead and skip B once again.
All right, AI6DG, do you think your systems are ready to go? You want to give it a try? Beautiful tone.
PD 120.
AI60G, AE6JG. Well, those are, that's Federation Blue, so those are circuit boards from the Starship Enterprise. I know that with a high degree of confidence. Carol, KP4MD.
Okay, wow. This looks like circuit boards. I don't know if it's from transceivers. It looks like some kind of RF. First of all, I see a couple of what look like front panels with large rectangular displays, and I see like three either rotary encoders or potentiometers on one side and another one solitary on the other side of the display, and a bunch of push buttons. There's two front panels that look like that, and then what I'm seeing there in the upper right-hand corner looks like a power amplifier section on a board with a bunch of toroids. You could see the binocular cores there, which usually you see that those kind of big ones in the power amplifier stages of a transmitter. I really have no idea what this is, but it looks like bits and pieces of transceivers. So that's all I can say. Back to that's KP4MT.
Thanks, Carol. And Joel, I have a pretty good copy here, too, a few pixel pops. George, you want to comment on this? This seems up your alley, N6YG.
One of the better pictures I've gotten from Joel in a while. They came over real clear over here. For some reason, this reminds me of an open source HF radio kit that it's an SDR radio. It reminds me of it. Looks like there's several of them here. And I'm trying to remember what the name of the project is. You can find them all over the place. It's actually, I think, a U.S. ham or it's a European ham that started the project. And then the Chinese just started making clones of it and selling it. And so you can buy it as a kit or you can buy it completely built. I think the kits are, a lot of the surface mount stuff is already done on the kits. You just have to finish it off. And they're all about that same form factor. The boards stack on top of each other and they go in a really thin case. For portable use, it's like a 10 watt or 5 or 10 watt transceiver, because you have a tuner. It looks like a tuner board right there, and of course Carol's right. There's a power amplifier section, and then the front panel with the rotary encoders and a bunch of push buttons. So, and a big giant heat sink for the back of the case, and the speakers right there. It looks like it might be missing a few parts, but it looks like there's parts for several of them here. Anyhow, be curious to see what Joel has to say. N6YG.
Thanks, George. Joel, AI6DG.
Yeah, I'm a QRP transceiverless at the moment, and I'm resisting temptation of just going out and spending money. The KX2 is into Ellicraft for repair, and it's probably not going to get back in time for Winter Field Day. So I pulled out this tray of parts of uncompleted MCHF of transceivers that I kept buying. The first one I bought was early in the project, where all you could get was bare circuit boards. So I sent off to England the money in PayPal and got back 2 circuit boards and ordered all the parts off of I don't remember. It could have been, I don't think it was DigiKey. It was probably Moser. Imagine getting in Moser a big box full of all these little itty-bitty plastic envelopes with surface mount parts on them, in them, 2 of these and 5 of those and 1 of these and so forth. It was an interesting challenge. First major surface mount project I'd done, and actually I think I got that one completed to the point where I actually had the display running, but never quite finished it, and then kept visiting the site, and they eventually had a semi-constructed kit of it where all the surface mount stuff was already mounted. So I went and got another one and didn't even finish that one either. And then visited later and said, oh, now they've got another version, a newer version of it, and we were including the case and all the parts with the surface mount pre-mounted, blah, 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 blah. So I ordered that one too. So I've got 3 of these, and none of them did I ever completely finish, although some of them actually got close to finished. So hopefully, I got this out. It was completely covered in dust, so you might actually notice some imperfections in the image, and that's not imperfections, that's parts covered in dust. I'm vacuuming all the dust off, but I need to do an inventory of what I've got and what it's going to take to finish it, and hopefully I'll have something from this box actually running in time for Winter Field Day. Back to net, AI6TG.
Thanks, Joel. I know you've heard us talk about the USDX QRP radio that's $150 or $160. If this doesn't work, I suppose you could resort to that if your KX2 isn't back. Before we move to Bill to transmit a picture, Bill, I know you know about all this too, N6WLM. Any comments on Joel's comments?
Yeah, I haven't heard of this specific QRP transmitter. It does look like there's a lot of various clones that you could get from eBay that's related to this. So I'm hoping you can get one of these working. I do have a UBitX version 3, and it's an okay radio. It's fun to play around with, and they give you the source code. So it's a nice, fun project. But you get it set up, play with it a little bit, and you kind of shelf it because it's not the most portable radio. So I hope that you can get this fitted in a case and make it a little more field ready, Joel. But otherwise, it looks like a fun project. N6WLM.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, Bill, do you want to test your system again?
Yeah, I think I got it figured out. My signal link was plugged in and receiving, but it wasn't turned on, so I didn't realize that it could receive with it not powered on. So let me see if I get it down.
Yes, you got it down.
Perfect. This is N6WLM, and this will be PD120.
That looks like a really well-made telescopic mast and some ferrite things. the rings. Let me ask Bob, N6PGQ, how do you copy?
Well, the copy is really good. It looks like someone's going to wind some toroids, perhaps, in the front. And I agree, those look like well-made, probably carbon fiber masts. So I'm interested to know who made it, where it's from, and all the details. N6PGQ.
Thanks, Bob. Carol, KP4MD.
Yeah, let me see, the mast that looks similar to the spider beam mast that I've seen, which are really high quality black type of material, telescopic mast. And I'm also noticing a printed a PC board in the foreground that has 4 outlines there, which I'm guessing, I mean, that's 4, 6, and I'm guessing that this is where those toroids are eventually going to go on those rectangular, over those rectangular outlines on there, and the windings will then get soldered into those holes. Wondering what that is, some kind of a filter, switchable filter, or matching network. I have no idea. It wouldn't probably be a matching network with so many different toroids, but maybe different filters for different bands. And just curious about that. Back to net. It's KP4MD.
Thanks, Carol. Bill, N6WLM. This is AE6JG Net Control for Slow Scan TV. Okay, Bill, N6WLM. Did we all get it right?
Yeah, there's hints of truth to everything you've said. Some more than others. So to start with the masts, there's 7 masts pictured here. They're 7.2 meters, and the 6 of them are made of fiberglass, and 1 is made of carbon fiber. And I plan on using the 6 to build a hex beam. So that's the idea. They're actually from China. They're from AliExpress. I got 6 of them for $40, and they all made it intact except for 1. So I have 1 broken mast, which I promptly reordered, and should be here eventually to I don't know, finagle together a hex beam is the idea. So I still need to make the center hub and figure out the rest. I have some wild ideas, so there might be more to come with that. So that's the first part. I'll let it drop. The second half of the photo goes with the hex beam. So that is a PC board from KD6RM Phil, our vice president, and it is his triplexer design. So this is a triplexer for 10, 15, and 20 meters, and he was gracious enough to give me a PC board to get me started. And I still need to build the bandpass filters to go with it. And the idea is once I get this hex beam up and running, I'll be able to go out in the field, do a POTA with my buddies, and we can all play radio at the same time with a little gain antenna. So that's the idea. We'll see if I'm able to actually execute this, and I'm adding it to my many list of projects. I do have I am on the wait list for the Buddy Hex, so we'll see if who could build a hex beam faster, me or Buddy Pole. But listening to Ken, he said it took him about a year and a half to get his Buddy Hex, so I might beat the folks at Buddy Pole. Anyways, back to that N6WLM.
Thanks, Bill. When you get that Buddy Hex, let us know. Also, document, if you don't mind, as you're putting this together, both the triplexer and the hex beam, if you could document those projects and then present them to the club when you're done, I think this would be a great project to talk about HF-related projects. Phil is actually our president, not our vice president anymore. Carol's the vice president. But I think this is great. Any questions for Bill about this?
N6YG.
Go ahead, George.
Yeah, it wasn't fair. I knew what it was when I saw it, Bill, because we had talked. I knew right away that you had gotten your fishing poles. So they look good. I was going to tell you, I'm trying to locate the information I have on those center hubs. I did a bunch of research on homebrew X beams a while back when just before I injured my back, I was going to build one. And so I have a bunch of information on different styles of center hubs that you can build that relatively easily at home and inexpensively. So I was going to throw that out. And I was curious on what you thought of the now that you have them. What do you think of the quality of the poles?
I think they're a decent quality. I'm honestly going to throw away half of the length. I bought the 7.2 meter length, which is almost 24 feet, and I intend to just use the first half sections to build the actual hex beam, since you only need about 10 or 12 feet, I think, of mast length for each leg of the hex beam. And they're decent quality. I was concerned actually when I first saw them that they were carbon fiber, and one of the masts actually in that photo is a carbon fiber mast, the gold one, and that actually impacts HF. So if you have a vertical setup, you could wave these in front of or near your vertical, and you'll see the SWR and the actual resonance of the antenna float around. So if you have like a Rig Expert or a Nano VNA, it's a good test to see if your material is ferrous or not. So I did that with the 6 I have, and they actually don't impact the antenna pattern at all. And they seem like they're fairly sturdy for what they are. So for $40, I think it'll be worth it. And I have some wild ideas about the hub. So yeah, we might have to meet later and discuss some of that things, because I think I have a novel idea. Anyways, N6NA, back to that.
Thanks, Bill. Any more questions for N6WLM before I close the net?
Yeah, it is KP4MD. Do I get to send a picture?
Yeah, go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, okay, unless it was too late. But this would be PD120.
Sorry, I forgot. I thought you had. Yeah, please go ahead. Thanks, Carol. I apologize again for skipping you. My assistant let me down. That happens sometimes. Let's see. Who should comment on this? Joel, AI6DG. Go ahead.
Scrambling around trying to find the microphone and the foot pedal. Yep, I'm transmitting. Okay, good reception, fair number of pops, but not too bad. An old military aviation transmitter on the left. threes or, geez, I can't remember what the letters were. Oh, and on the right, I guess we've got it open, and we're looking at the inside of it, and I see the dynamo. This one's got the dynamo, so it actually has a little motor that generates the voltages, the power. Doesn't that do 400 cycle from the aviation power line on the plane, and spins a little motor and generates the high voltage? I probably got this all wrong, and there's probably other variations that I'm aware of, but old gear, tube style, and the dial says, geez, I don't know, 190 to 550, so would it be megacycles or kilocycles? Good question. Cool stuff. Does it work? Back to net, DI6DG.
Thanks, Joel. AE6JG here. Bob, N6PGQ.
Well, I think the comments have all been right on in line. There's a fair amount of little pixel pops, horizontal ones, and other than that, the quality is really good. I'm going to be interested if where Carol got this thing, N6PGQ.
Yeah, it almost borders on analog, so I'm curious too. Carol, KP4MD, tell us about this image.
Okay, yeah, before I say anything, I'd like to ask George, N6YG, to make his comments on this. George?
Wait, what? Yeah, I don't know what else to add to this. It is definitely vintage gear. I'm looking at the inside of it. I see that it's got this schematic, well, more of a block diagram on the inside that's showing the various components in there. And I think Joel might be right. I see 12 volts written on 12V written on there, and I guess that's the right shape to be a dynamo. It definitely has that black matte Parkerizer. I forgot what they call that finish. And that dial, I'm not sure. Carol, you're gonna have to tell us what this is. It looks like the top of the case is dented, but anyhow. Is that a BNC connector on the front, or there's another connector that looks like the BNC connector, but it's a little bit larger, and I forget what the name of it is. So anyway, N6YG, back to net.
Okay, Carol, we give up. Tell us what this is.
Okay, this is a World War II vintage Arc 5 command set. For those of you who may, well, I thought that George would remember this right offhand. This is a receiver that was used in an aircraft. The unusual thing about that dynamotor is they originally were primarily 28 volts. So to have a 12 volt dynamotor in one of these is a little bit unusual. And it receives from 190 to 550 kilocycles. If you look in the center of the dial underneath the numbers, it says KC, that's kilocycles. And the connector in the upper left hand corner there is actually it's a binding post. You push it in and you can stick a wire in there. This is the receiver. This is not a transmitter. And to the lower right hand corner of the frequency dial, there's it looks like a connector, but it actually is a place where they had a cable. It was similar to a bicycle cable that would spin, and it would actually adjust the frequency. I also have a spinner knob that goes in there, and you can use that also to change the frequency on this thing. And where I picked this up was this weekend during the state event that was over in North Highlands. I got two of these, Now these were these were popular to be used to tune down to the 455 kilohertz and to get a little bit better selectivity on the old shortwave radios that used 455 kilohertz as an intermediate frequency. Since these receivers were a lot sharper, and it was an interesting thing. I actually had an ARC-V command set, a set of both a transmitter and a receiver back in the 1970s when they weren't so old. And the ones I had were up around the 80 meter band, and they were fun to play with. This, you see how it's like in mint condition. It looks really, really good. And probably would work, possibly, except maybe some of the, I don't even know if those capacitors are any good in there. But I know the military radios lasted forever. So there was some really good stuff there. I have a couple of these, and I have a lot of other things that well, a few other things that I picked up at that estate event. And so I'm going to have some good pictures for upcoming nets. Back to net control. It's KP4MT.
Comment.
Thanks, Carol. A comment. Go ahead.
All right, Carol. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't catch that. The missing knob on the front might have been what's it. I kept looking at that thinking, what is this? Something wrong with this picture. The 12 volts threw me too, because I was going to say, I was thinking when I was looking at this, that 12 volts seemed awfully low. Low voltage for what this is. So yeah, 28 volts is what was standard. All right, back to net.
Thanks, George. Let me try this again now that everybody's had a turn, I hope. Let me know if I skipped you. Any other comments before I close the net? Well, thanks to everybody who participated in tonight's Slow Scan TV Net and to Craig in Louisiana. We hope to see you again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. The net is officially closed at 9:55 p.m. This is James, Alpha Echo 6, Juliet Golf, wishing all of you a very good evening.
N6WLM, N6YG.
Hey, George, N6WLM.